Yes, people, welcome to LFC Red Forever channel. So right now, I want to do something I've never done before. So just bear with me. I'm going to be watching basically the Jurgen Klopp interview, press conference, and we can make out whatever we want out of it. Because sometimes, like, we don't watch the actual interview in its entirety, so we could do something like that today, and just like pick out the bits that's important, and we could discuss it as we go along. And please, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscription button. If you haven't hit that notification button that will alert you every single time we come on, please do that for us. And hit the like button, because if you hit the like button, it will, like, trend around YouTube as well. So please do that for us. As I said before, I no longer actually do live videos on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and anything else after that. So going forward, I'm just going to be doing it on, obviously, YouTube. So please just subscribe to the channel, and let's move forward together. You know what I mean? Get bigger together, if you know what I mean. No pressure. It's up to you how you make out of the channel, and you could decide for yourself as well. So yeah. So I want to watch the actual full interview, so we can make out of it like what we want as well. So let's do this, people. Let's do this. Sorry. Let's do this. So I'm gonna look at it, and I'll be quiet. So please. Just check it out for yourself, and then we could make out what Jurgen Klopp's going to say during this interview. Let me forward it a bit as well.
More about
Jurgen, good morning. I know an awful lot is said after the sort of defeat you had against Real Madrid on Tuesday about how you react. Is it a case now of working on specifics, or is it more about lifting morale and confidence? And how do you go about that? Do you watch the game back immediately with the players?
with the player? No. We have. Yes, of course we watch it back, and but not the whole game together with the players. That's no time for that really. No. Same with training, so it's not that you can work now on a lot of stuff in between Wednesday and Saturday game. That's not possible. But anyhow, we are obviously using the information from the game. It's clear. So, but we have to understand 100%. And I've said it now plenty of times. I don't read a lot anyway. But when you lose a game like this, it makes absolutely no sense to read or listen to people who are talking about it. So, but I know 100% how the reflex is. And conceding 5 in a home game in the Champions League is absolutely not acceptable. I know that, but it happened anyway, so we cannot change that anymore. The way we conceded the goals, we can change, not for that game, but in general, and we have to. But the start of the game was a good one anyway. It was good, and it was not only 20 minutes. I know after then we conceded, but it was the first half was a really good half. Could score another goal, maybe should have scored in that situation, and then the second half had the worst start for us. So what you can see, what I saw in this game is that, yes, a lot of things are back, but not stable yet. So that's pretty much what you can make of it. That's why we then conceded the goals. You are 3-2 down, and it's clear you want a result for the next game, and a 3-2 is not a perfect. When you lose 3-2, it's not a perfect result, but it's much better than 5-2. And so, it was a night which was not really helpful, but still we have to work with it, and that's what we did. And so now we are here and prepared for 2 days already, and today again the game against Crystal Palace, and hopefully can learn the right things and use the right things and get some points.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult task, isn't it, to make further progress in the Champions League, so that obviously qualifying for next season's Champions League through the league position becomes absolutely paramount for you now. So, but you've a real chance with 2 matches, the Palace and Wolves game. Win both of those, and you're right back in the hunt for 4th place, aren't you? Before the likes of Newcastle even play a game. Big games for you. Yeah,
so these are facts now on the table, but we should not involve the Wolves game already, and we should not consider the 3 points already in our pocket or whatever. It's not like this. It's a really tough game. So Crystal Palace has, result-wise, not a perfect spell as well. So since the World Cup, but performance-wise, it looks much better. So we had a really deep look into what they did, and it's a really talented team, a really well set-up team. Probably in a 4-2-3-1, a lot of technique on the pitch, speed on the pitch, mixed with experience, but changed. I really respect a lot what Palace is doing for years, and how they bring all these offensive players, especially together, and keep them in the club for that long and stuff like this. It's really good. So yes, will be a tough one, but yes, of course, for us, all the games from now on are Champions League qualifiers. That's how it is, and nobody knows if we can do it, because not only in our hands, but getting 3 points would bring us in the right direction, and that's obviously something we want to do, but we know it's difficult.
I know you just said earlier there that you don't listen to all the noise that's made after these sort of defeats from the likes of us in the media. I know it's difficult to shut that out as well. A lot of people a lot of people calling for, you know, change on the back of a defeat in terms of the team lineup, etc. Are you tempted to shake things up after a defeat and bring the likes of Jota, Firmino, who are probably ready to start a game now? And what about Ibrahima Konate? Is he anywhere near playing again?
It was near, but had 2 sessions with that after a long injury, so that makes now we can see when the boys come on now that they are not at their best anymore. But they need the minutes, and everything will get better. But that's exactly the situation we have. So it's we are not sure if all the boys could even play again after Madrid because of some knocks here and there. So we're really not 100% clear. So then we have to make changes, and we want to make, and we will make changes anyway. But it's not that you come back after a long injury and just it's clicking again. So we have the situation now with Bobby and Jurgen. We can see it with Virgil as well. Everybody expects Virgil always like a robot pretty much. Now he's in. He played the most games last year, played the World Cup every game pretty much, for at least for his country. Came back from first, second, played for us, got injured, comes back, plays. So that's the situation. That's not perfect, but it's what we have to go through. So yeah, together for years, and how they bring all these consider the 3 points already in our pocket or whatever. It's not like this. It's a good. Bring us in the right direction, and that's obviously something we want to do, but we know it's difficult.
Yeah, sorry people. I apologize. I haven't unmuted. Yeah, so you're looking at what Jurgen Klopp is saying about Virgil van Dijk. He's saying that he's playing a lot of games and he gets injured. He picks up a lot of injuries along the way. He's not a machine and all that stuff. But if you look at Liverpool Football Club with Virgil van Dijk, he more or less plays every game since he's been here, and it's always him that's constant in that defense, and it never changes. So if we're gonna do things like that and you don't strengthen the team, it's not really the players' fault, it's not the manager's fault, but it all contributes all together, doesn't it? If you don't strengthen, you're gonna have to play these players on a regular basis. So let's continue with the interview and check out what else he's gonna say as well.
I know you just said earlier there that you don't listen to all the noise that's made after these sort of defeats.
we are not sure if all the boys could even play again after Madrid because of some knocks here.
Sorry, people.
After a long injury, so that makes now we can see when the boys come on now that they are not at their best anymore. They need the minutes, and everything will get better. But that's exactly the situation we have. So it's we are not sure if all the boys could even play again after Madrid because of some knocks here and there. So we're really not 100% clear. So then we have to make changes, and we want to make, and we will make changes anyway. But it's not that you come back after a long injury and just it's clicking again. So we have the situation now with Bobby and Jurgen. We can see with Virgil as well. Everybody expects Virgil always like a robot pretty much. Now he's he played the most games last year, played the World Cup every game pretty much, at least for his country. Came back from first, second, played for us, got injured, comes back, plays. So that's the situation. That's not perfect, but it's
I had to go back, people. Sorry about that.
So that's why I know. I don't say everything what people say around us is wrong, not at all, but most of the things are not right as well. So that's how it is. But we know that we have to improve. We know that we have to change things, and we will. We cannot do that now, but it's already clear that we have to do something in the summer. That's clear. But for now, we just have to go through this and.
Look at that, people. He just said that, like, we have to change things. We have to, like, do something in the summer. There you go, people. Like, if you pick out the interviews, like, what he says, a lot of people look for the negatives instead of, like, the positives as well. It clearly shows, like, that he needed players, but it didn't come through. So if he's saying, like, in the summer, we're going to have to make changes, that means he wants to make signings. And if they don't make signings in the summer, there's going to be a big problem at Liverpool Football Club. A lot of fans are going to, like, not take this nonsense, and they're going to probably take it to the streets to, you know, have a go at these owners. So let's continue with the interview and listen to what he says on continuously, and I will pick out the bits that I have to speak on as well. I hope you're enjoying this, people. Please get in the comment section. Obviously, there's already people put comments through, and I'll read it out as I go along as well. So yeah, if you're new, please subscribe to the channel as well. So let's go back and see what he's saying.
And fight back. And so again, you can lose against Real Madrid, but I don't think a lot of teams can cause them the problems we cause them in the first 20-25 minutes. So that's a sign of quality as well. So I don't always interested in it because it was only 20 minutes and then you lose a game. But it's still very important for us that I could see that. That's why I was not in a overly bad mood afterwards, because yes, if you make the mistakes we made, yeah, then it's really difficult or impossible to get anything about it. But there was some good stuff which I didn't see for a long time, and I was really happy about that. And so now let's try to keep that in our patterns and in our game, and then we will see.
Virgil did say he's not a robot, by the way.
No, he is not.
You did after the game, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because it's. I didn't read that or listen to him, but it's true. Yeah, he is not. I knew that before, by the way.
Morning, I think it's 7 points off the top four, but with games in hand. Is that now the absolute main target and main focus for the rest of this campaign?
Would you have any other? Or answer available? Yes. European football. So okay, when it's Liverpool and we play now all the time Champions League, nobody asks me now. Will ask me, well, you can make the Conference League or the European League, stuff like this. European football, yes, and Champions League. We said it 500 million times, and rightly so for the club. It's incredibly important that we qualify for it. We are all, I'm not sure, but some people are for sure a bit spoiled because that was in a very difficult league. We did it quite early in the last few years, but we were always qualified for the Champions League, apart from 2 years ago, I think. And so this year it will be a later decision, definitely, if we can do it. But we need points for that. We don't have to talk about it. The only way to get there is to gain more, to win more points than our opponents, because at the moment they all have more points than us, most of them. And so we have to make sure that we really keep going. Yes, and that's why we all have to make sure that this highlight game against Real Madrid, everybody was positive, winning 2 games before, and now maybe in the right moment. Then 20 minutes, everybody thought, okay, yeah, it was the right moment, and it was the wrong moment after that. So we cannot always go like this through a season. We need to find some consistency in the way we play. It's not all emotions are very important, but it cannot be all about emotions. It's all about today I feel great, tomorrow I don't feel that well.
Yeah, people like there's things I agree with the manager, and there's a lot of things I disagree as well. Sorry, a lot of things I agree with manager, and there's things I disagree with the manager. Sorry, I meant to put it that way. He's saying we're spoiled. Spoiled? Aren't we Liverpool Football Club? What are we? You know what I mean? Like, this is what we're used to. This is what this club is being built for. Bill Shankly built this club to be invisible to every other team. So it's not spoiled, it's expectations. That's what we expect. We expect to compete. We expect to perform. We expect to show other teams that we are one of the best teams in the world. So spoiled, that I don't understand when he keeps saying that word spoiled. You know what I mean? Like, it's a strange wording he puts. So maybe it's English. Maybe it's not very clear what he says. And that's probably what's making him look bad when he says spoiled. Maybe it's just the communication. So let's just be careful with how we go on with that one. John Conway says, "Hi, for big up, bro." Yeah, sorry about that. It was just in the beginning. I completely forgot to take that off because I don't want people hearing me while he's doing the interview. You know what I mean? Michael says, "Has Nunes travelled?" Yes, there's nothing wrong with Nunes. There's nothing wrong with Nunes as far as I'm aware. Casper just came on and said, "You best be afraid of the former Man United boy, Wolf Zaha, Olis, and Eze, and Goho. I don't know, Gohoi. I don't know who those players, majority of them are, because they haven't been seen in the Premier League. Like, have they done anything to win it? You know, those kind of things. You know what I mean? Are they winners? I don't know. I don't think so, Casper. So you can say whatever you want. Zaha never played for Man United, by the way. So I don't know where you're coming out with that one. So let's continue with the interview and see what more he says. So I could pick out and I'll let you know. But spoiled, that's not the thing to say. I don't think he meant to say it that way either. Like, I think it's this German thing. I think that's what it is, because that's the wrong way to go about it. How can you call a club like spoiled? Liverpool Football Club is traditional with winning. So yeah, let's go. Let's continue.
And stuff like this. We have just to start believing 100% in ourselves again, and really bring our quality on the pitch. And that's now the thing for tomorrow. We have to be tomorrow an incredible, uncomfortable opponent to play for Crystal Palace. That's all. And we don't have to think too much about, if at all, about Champions League or whatever. It's about 3 points. That's our Champions League tomorrow and nothing else.
Selhurst Park on a Saturday night will be a raucous place to go. You've got a very good record there. Do you enjoy going there?
I can't say enjoy it. I like I heard now that we have a good record there, but if you would have asked me, I would have said, wow, incredible, difficult games, always really tough. Yes, great atmosphere. I actually hope it's on Saturday night in London, people go out and don't go in the stadium, to be honest, but maybe they will first go in the stadium. No, yeah, it's a great place to play football. I really respect a lot what they are doing, because it's, I think it's really tough in London between all these massive clubs, and then finding a way. Over the years I learned that their youth department, at least 100%, used to be outstanding. I don't know exactly how it is now, but there's some really interesting young players. We had some here who came through the academy. So yes, really cool club in a really cool stadium. Yeah, I only remember super difficult games.
Carlos. Hi Jurgen. Your last 6 goals have come for you from 2 each. How excited are you to see the developing their partnership together? It must be hard for Jota and Firmino to get into the side when they're playing so well.
It's not hard. We have too many games to make it hard to come into games we have to play now. We cannot play all the time with exactly the same. There were times, obviously, Sadio and Mo were very young, and Bobby, whatever they did, maybe they played a lot of games, but even then we needed the guys. So yes, it's good. I said it. The goals against Newcastle, especially, were real team goals. Were real playing together. That was helpful, but we have to make changes. We cannot change. We cannot change that, and but each minute they can play together, all the boys, is obviously very helpful, because that improves the understanding, and you could see that with the goals.
And you mentioned after the game the other night that you need to make sure that game doesn't damage confidence. How do you go about building that confidence? Is it hard when confidence isn't like 100%? Is it difficult to build the players up?
Yeah. So everything what happens in life has influence on confidence. Recently I scratched my car, so since then I drive through around corners like like this. So that's, and I drive 37 years. I have the license, I think, and I had never a real accident. But it's like everything has influence and confidence. But then after a few miles, you realize, oh, I was just unlucky. So maybe I can just drive normal again. So yeah, but it's about you. Nobody gives you confidence. You have to let it happen. So I can tell you whatever I want. If you think, yeah, I'm rubbish anyway, so I cannot change that now in 5 minutes. So it's just about, but there are a lot of reasons. That's loads of reasons why the boys should be confident. And I saw a lot of these reasons in the last game. So if you can cut out the disappointment for the.
So they talk about the confidence of the players, how they are performing this season, and you know, things like that. Like it's very strange, like to keep performing season in, season out in the same level, if you know what I mean, people. Especially when you don't refresh the squad as well. Like give those people help. Like he said in the press conference, Virgil van Dijk said, "I'm not a machine," and he's 100% right. There's a certain time in the career, your body is not the same. You could talk about Usain Bolt. He knew when his body reached the limit, then he couldn't run anymore like he used to. So if you think about Virgil van Dijk, it's the same as well. He's 31 years old. He's not 21 years old. So there's a time in his life, you know, the body needs a rest. It needs you know, to recharge again. And this is what's happening to Virgil van Dijk at the moment. And you know, don't forget, people, he had a ligament injury, a long-term injury, a season-ending injury. So he was always going to have these moments on his return. You know, like when you're young, when you hit your head somewhere, or you know, someone kicks you in the knee or something like that, it takes you a few minutes to come back like you used to. When you reach a certain age, it takes you like months, weeks, and things like that. So that's what's happening with Virgil van Dijk. And this is the first time I've ever heard Virgil van Dijk say, "I'm not a machine," you know what I mean? Like I could feel pain and all that stuff. So this is what you got to go through. If you don't refresh the squad and you get strength and depth in the team, these kind of seasons is going to happen. This is why I've said about these owners. They're not helping this manager. He said, like, there's a reason he signed a contract, and it will come on to that during this video, and I'll explain to you why he said that. So let's continue.
Whole world, especially the Liverpool world, and the 5 goals and all these kind of things, and that people say we are not good enough anymore and stuff like this. We can cut that out. Then you have the right to focus on the good things as well, and then let's go from there. So there's a chance, but in the end, it's always a challenge, and will never be easy. Though it's not now. We are not in a. Still not, how I said, a lot of good things, but not stable yet. And we have to work on that stability. We have to, because the good things are really good and will be good forever. But then we have to make sure that we don't suffer from the few things that don't work out that well.
Jurgen, just picking up really on that, because you said you were in an overly bad mood. So I just wondered what, you've spoken about emotion a lot today and in other press conferences as well, what that emotion of the players were then and on Tuesday night. Was it anger into frustration, or just frustration, or and how do you, when you say you talk about the confidence, it's not easy to do. So I just wondered what that mood was like straight after that.
Only the person who can tell you about the mood exactly of another group. So I see the players and I tell them how I feel, but I don't ask them now individually, and you. So that's how it is. That's why I say, when things go well, it's really about the players. I mean that. If not going well, it's about me. So my job is to make sure that they listen to me and believe, and I tell them this was good and that was good, and that was always the case so far. So I try to help the players with all I can, but I cannot switch social media off for them. So and these kind, and cannot switch off in general media. Like don't have a look at it and stuff like this. And if you have a look at it, don't believe what they say, believe what I say. These kind of things. So, but they are not. Well, at least not all of them are kids anymore. So it's just they know how to deal with this thing. It's not the first setback we got.
So what he said in that is giving instruction to players is easy, but them receiving it and doing it on the pitch is another thing. So if you look at the past seasons with Jurgen, he used to just give instructions to the players, and they used to follow the instructions and understand what he was saying, because they were hungry. Don't get me wrong, like their energy was up, you know what I mean, and they were young, they were fresh. Winning titles was their ambition, like, but when you win the titles and you keep finishing second to the likes of Man City on a continuous basis, and you lose a final against Real Madrid on a continuous basis, and we're losing to Real Madrid again, you know, the confidence is slowly diminishes. You know, I mean, that's what's happened to these actual players. You keep hearing the same thing again and again, the same manager, the same coaches, the same, you know, everything is the same as before, but you think you have that doubt in your mind, thinking to yourself, I've heard this before, but it never worked. So this is what's happening to these players. And like I said, if you don't refresh the squad, these doubts are always going to come in. But if you refresh the squad and there's competition for places, these players might perform better because they know their position is under threat. So let's continue with the interview, and I'll keep going and say what I think about it as well.
In the whole time. Yes, this year it feels like there are a few too many, absolutely. So, and we go to Madrid and we try to win the game. There's no doubt about that. But then we will see what that will lead to. But that's only in a few weeks. Now we have to make sure that we, in a tricky Premier League season, that we get this turnaround. In general, that we get really around the corner and then can go from there. That we have to chase everybody. We have to chase the whole league. That's how it is. Everybody's run, but needs to feel and smell our breath. So because it's really important that we get that back, that edge back, and we had that in the two games, obviously, and now different competition. Yes, when you win, you want to build on the result. When you lose, you have to get rid of it. That's how it is. When I mentioned that, we always, oh my God, but the Champions League was not that. Yeah, because the opponent was really good. I don't know a lot of teams who would have used our mistakes, the few mistakes we made, in a manner Real Madrid did, or Vinicius Junior did, or Karim Benzema did, and that's why we don't.
Yeah, if you look at the game, I watched it back. Like, I watch highlights. I don't want to watch the full game at all. Let's be honest there. The full game is just too much for me to watch, and too much disappointments. I just watched the goals, how they went in, and the way the players performed, especially with Vinicius and Rodrigo on the right-hand side. If you look at the difference between us and them, that's us a few years ago. They were hungry getting back. They were hungry going forward. If you look at Vinicius Junior, although he scored 2 goals, and I think he's created 1 or something like that, he was back in the left back position, helping out the actual left back. And then you look at Rodrigo on the other side, same. You look at the midfielders, same. Our ones were all scattered all over the place. We're all open all over the place. We leave Fabinho vulnerable as he hasn't got that mobility that he normally had before. And we're open to, you know, opponents' attacks, and then this is how they got the goals. Mo Salah stays up there on the right hand side, never gets back, and then you got Nunez. Yes, he gets back sometimes, but that's not his position. He's trying to become an all-round player, so we're sticking him out on the left. If we have like a Diaz or someone like that, then it's a different story. You know what I mean? At least he will help out the left back. So if you look at the two formations, the ones that work the hardest have won the game, and the one that didn't work the hardest lost the game. If you're 2-0 up in a game, people, you got to win that game, or you got to get a draw at least, and that didn't happen. 2-0 up, and they came back into the game and they battered us. And not only that, the saddest thing about this game was the ease of the goals. That's what really got me angry. It was the ease of the goals. So let's continue with the interview, listen to what Klopp is saying, and I'll put my 2 pence in.
Don't play them every time. So we play now against Crystal Palace, and we respect them a lot. But we have to cause them problems, at least as many as they can cause us.
Thank you.
Carl. Hi, I hate to throw this forward as I'm doing, but earlier you said it's clear you have to do something in the summer. I'm just wondering
What?
Well, you tell me. You say. I'm assuming you're referring to transfers and the squad. You say when you're referring to the summer, I'm assuming you're talking about.
What is it? What would be the other
So
scenario?
So I'm wondering how much has this season affected or changed the long-term planning, or because it can be a big summer now because there's quite a few players that contract.
No, not so much. It's not so much. We are all influenced by the things that happened recently. That's all, of course. Okay, but we are not that dumb. It's not like, oh, today was not good and now we have to change. So this is clear. It was always clear. This team has a wonderful history, and most of them and stuff like this. And it's always clear when the way this club is led by not what is that, splashing the money or whatever, just have a look if it works out or not. Our transfers always have to be on point, so that makes it really tricky. We cannot make four transfers before we know who will leave the club and stuff like this. So these kind of things. And last year, I said it now. I don't know how often I can say it. I knew it will be tricky. And that was one of the main reasons why I signed a new contract, to make sure, okay, come on, people are not on top of all that, have to discuss, and then he leaves next year. And not because I'm that great, just because imagine the same situation with another coach. So everybody would have said, bring Klopp back. And it's good we don't have that. Some of them won't be out, it's fine. I can understand that as well, but it's not about that. It's about a club. And
you see, people, he just said it, like, the reason he signed the contract is because the situation of the club, and it clearly proves he's not getting the finance that he deserves. Because I've just heard what he said. We have to, if we're going to go and sign players, we have to get rid of players. So it clearly shows it's sell to buy motto still at this club, and nobody's even like questioning that. You look at other clubs, that doesn't exist. It's only Liverpool Football Club that exists. And what he said, I signed a contract because I don't want to leave a club in a bad way, and then everybody will ask for Klopp to come back as well. So it shows what we're saying is the truth. The guy is giving you, indications that he's giving you things that ain't right at the football club, and we're sitting there accepting it. The guy had to sign a contract. You know what he said when he first came? What's important is what you leave behind when you leave the club. You know what I mean? So do you understand what that means? He means if the club is in a good place, that's when you leave. And the next person that's going to take over, it ain't going to be hard for him to continue the success as we used to do in the 80s, 70s, 60s, and those decades. That's what he's trying to tell you, and he's showing these owners are not supporting in that way. We still have that motto of sell to buy, and it's never going to change anytime soon until these owners leave. Just listen to what he's saying, people. Then you'll understand the full interview, what he said, because we just pick up moments. We don't look at the actual full interview and then judge it for ourselves. So let's see what he says.
Stability and what we can get in. So last year now was not a season for a big change. There was no doubt. We played until the last moment. And if you want to change, again, this club, we cannot just bring in new players and realize then later, oh, nobody wants to leave. It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. So that's why it's not possible. It's not possible to start it early, because we had final after final after final, played the season until last match, played the Champions League final, and then we have a short break, and then we have a lot of injuries, and then the World Cup. So boom. It's like on all the problems we knew we will have, this came on top. So, and now we are in it. And I know it's too long, and it's for me too long, because I have to face always you in this press conference. Oh, believe me, I don't like to talk about it all the time, but I have to think it all the time. But that's not as bad as to talk about it, to be honest, because
you see the interviews, people, like if you look at the interviews of Jurgen Klopp compared to the interviews when we're winning, it's completely different. It's like upside down, if you know what I mean. So when you're winning, the press conferences are more relaxed and it's more laughable, it's more enjoyable. When you're losing, even the press, don't forget, these press people, this is what they have to do. They have to make you look in a bad shape in order for them to get good, press, and people buy that kind of newspaper or watch those channels. This is what they're doing to him at the moment. They're playing mentally with his emotions, and you're forgetting at the top of that as well, like these actual press people, they have their own clubs to support. They could be Man United fans, they could be Arsenal fans, they could be Manchester City fans, Chelsea fans, Everton fans. It could be those kind of people. So when they see the manager is under stress and he could actually have that moment of saying, you know what, I can't take this anymore, it's time to go. And this is what they want, because everybody knows Jurgen Klopp is a threat to every manager in that Premier League. Once he gets it right, once he gets the right finance, nobody is going to be in his level, in my opinion. And this is what I'm trying to tell people. Be careful what you wish for. If you're asking the manager to leave, you're not going to get anyone better than this guy, because he's doing things with no money at all and he's succeeding at the same time. Yes, this season has been awful, but look at the benefits you can get if you get like the right ownership in place. You know what I mean? So think about it that way. So let's continue with this interview and see what's happening. We're at the end in a way. We ain't got long left. It's only a couple of minutes.
I don't have to read it the next day, pretty much, what I think. And so that's the situation. I cannot change it. Now that the people are not happy, we try to fight through and make the best out of this season. That's the idea. And stay in that all the period as good as a person as you can. So if I said that the better you behave in a moment like this, the better the times will be after it. And the more useful the bad times are, because they have to be useful. Otherwise they're completely useless. Imagine that in all our lives, that we wouldn't have learned from our failures, and we wouldn't have learned from the moments when things didn't go well. So we would not be the same people. So we have to learn from this as well, and we will. But now we are in this heated atmosphere where we lose a game, everybody out, we win a game, oh, give him a new contract, and all these kind of things, and you think, oh, well, it'll all be quick. So I'm too old for that. So we have to make our own plans, and that's what we do. But based on the way this club is leaded, so it's obviously different to other clubs. So that's how it is. But it worked out so far, and we have to see if it will work still, or if we have to adapt. Let me say it like that. But that's something for us in the offices when we are not on the training pitch, and for us, for my conversation with the owners and all these kind of things. But that's it. Nothing else. Just work. Less a celebration.
When you say adapt, what do you mean by that in terms of adapt your approach?
You see, they're frustrated people. Just watch the reaction of him. This press, they put the needle in. They put the needle in.
If necessary. It's much better if I say something. Now you can speculate. It's much better.
Look, he looks exhausted as well, people. Looks very exhausted.
Embargo, section have an embargo until 10:30 p.m.
You see, people, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like the angles of the press and you know everybody else that's putting pressure on him drives him crazy, and that's what we don't want. As fans, we're supposed to protect our team, protect our manager, and this is where we come in, and we have to do things like that. Like us getting frustrated and listening to these people that actually want him out because they know he will get it right again. It's the wrong way of going about it, and that's what worries me more than anything. I remember Kenny Dalglish back in 1990. When he went to all 96 funerals, he came back tired, and you know people asking him the same questions again and again, and he said when he left, like, this took me to the limit, it's time to go. I wish we gave Kenny Dalglish the 6 months that everybody else was asking for, so he could come back and Rory Moran could have taken over, and then you know that success of Man United might not been there if Kenny stayed. You know, if you know what I mean, people. But you know, life sometimes goes in a different direction, then you have to find your way back. And this is what's happened to our football club. We've got a manager in the 7 years he's been there, he won every title possible. He hasn't missed any. Forget about the Europa League, that's lower leagues, but that's the only one he hasn't won. But we're not in that level. We're Champions League level. So if you look at the higher level, he's won every trophy possible, and our support got him there. That's what he needs at the moment. All of us need to stick together through these bad moments and get this team out of this, if you know what I mean. And us accepting people coming from the outside trying to get him out the club, it's the wrong way to go about it. So we've got to be careful what we wish for. Like I said, where do we go from here if Jurgen Klopp leaves? I mean, there's no one else like Jurgen Klopp, and you know what I mean, the charisma, the guy, everything, like what he brought, like from the first moment he walked through that door, he said, if I don't win one title, then I'm a failure. That's the kind of manager we got, and he's asking for help. If you listen to this interview in the fullest, you'll understand where he's coming from. He's asking for help, and these owners are not giving him help. He did say in the interview, if you haven't heard it, we have to sell to buy players. So you know what he's under. You know what I mean? The thing you got to look at as well, when he first came to this club, that's what they offered him, and he accepted it because he knew that the standards of this club. Even though you give him limited resources, he'll still have to work out somewhere to get to the top. And with the fans we got, with the people around the club we got as well, which is missing at the moment as well. You know what I mean? We need a chief executive, we need a doctor, we need a new analytic team. We need a lot of stuff at this club for us to move forward and get to where we want to get to. And once we sort that out, I think we'll be fine after that. Because if you look at Arsenal, they had the same issues. Now they've sorted their backroom stuff out, and obviously the people that recruit the team, now they look a different team because it flickers down to the actual team on the field, and that's what we need to go back to. We was the standards people. We was the one everybody's looking at. let's get back to that and then move on from there. I hope you enjoyed this, people. I don't know what more to say. I mean, sometimes you've got to watch the full interview for you to understand where the manager is coming from. And what I've gathered from this interview is he's facing a lot of obstacles and a lot of hurdles, obviously, to go through to get back to the top. And it's unfortunate, man, because these owners are just terrible, man. They're parasites, and if people don't see that quickly, this guy's going to walk away and say, you know what, I've reached the limit, it's time to go. It's just like 1990 again. You know what I mean, we lost a beloved manager, the greatest player that ever lived at Liverpool Football Club, because he was tired and he couldn't hack it anymore. And this is the last thing we want to do with Jurgen Klopp. I mean, it's such a short time, this guy. If someone offered, our fan base, in the next 7 years, you win all those trophies, they will bite your hand off. They will ban. They say to you, like, you win all those trophies and plus it will take you like a season to get back to that level again. Everybody will bite their hand off. Let's just be honest here, and that's the way we've got to look at it as well. Instead of being negative all the time, it's the owners, people. The owners are the issue, and it's time you guys realize that. Do we pick Jurgen Klopp or do we pick FSG? Who do you want to stay more than the other? I want Klopp to stay more than FSG. So it's time for FSG. If they don't share the same ambitions as Liverpool Football Club supposed to, it's time to go, in my opinion. So let's just see what's going to happen in the next few months. I can't see any players coming in the summer, like he was saying, unless we sell, unless we generate money. If FSG is still there and the finance don't come through, and I'm worried, man. Because I can't take another season of the same mediocrity like that we've taken in the last season. Okay, people, I hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, I'll see you in the live watch along later on. Hopefully it'll be a great game at Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace, and we'll get a win there, just to push ourselves in that top 4 again. Please like, share and subscribe, share the channel around and everything like that, and I'll see you soon, people. Take care, everybody.